begin the program, I'll request our Senior Vice President, Mr. Sanjay Agrawal, to give the presidential address for today's very important program. Over to you, sir.
Shri Salim Kumar, CEO, Government E-Marketplace, has he joined, Dr. Ranjit?
I can't see him, sir, here.
Okay.
Yeah.
But he's expected to join in, right?
Yeah, he's expected to join, sir, in time.
Okay. Mr. Ketan Gaikwad,
yes.
Managing Director, Receivables Exchange of India. Mr. Manoj Lal from SIC. Mr. Deepesh Gehlot, Director, Government E-Marketplace. Mr. Rajesh Jain, Deputy CEO, Government E-Marketplace. Mr. D.P. Goyal, Co-Chair of the MSME Committee. Dr. Ranjit Mehta, Principal Director. Members of the Managing Committee. And all the dignitaries attending the party and participating in this webinar.
I will mail you. Just try and see.
It's a pleasure for me to welcome you all.
Is that
Mithilesh, can you? Yeah.
Please mute yourself, Mithilesh.
Yeah.
Anyone?
Right. So it's a pleasure for me to welcome you all to this seminar. It gives me really a great pleasure to extend you all a very warm welcome on behalf of the PSG Chamber of Commerce and Industry and on my own. I'm indeed thankful to the Government E-Marketplace, GEM, which has accepted our request for organizing a webinar on the new market opportunities for MSMEs in the Government E-Marketplace as a seller during the COVID era. The objective of the webinar is to bring on board maximum number of MSMEs as sellers and understand the GEM registration, the role of trade receivables discounting platform also. Let me just say that GEM is a very aptly named acronym for the Government E-Marketplace because this is a gem of an initiative which is expected to really help the MSMEs to a very large extent. I think further down my speech, I'll be mentioning the amount of business done and expected. So GEM is very appropriate, I must say, for the name or acronym for the Government E-Marketplace. I wish to take this opportunity to also welcome all the participants from across the country who have joined this webinar. Friends, the PSG Chamber of Commerce and Industry, a leading 115-year-old national apex chamber of India, has been an active participant in the Indian growth story through its advocacy role for the policymakers and regulators of the country. Regular interactions, seminars, conferences, and conclaves allow healthy and constructive discussions between the government, industry, and international agencies, bringing out the vitals for growth and having 130,000 companies as its members, with a total focus on development of small and medium businesses. The COVID-19 outbreak has become a humanitarian and economic crisis and is already impacting countries with unprecedented speed and severity. The crisis has left enterprises to think about business continuity like never before, and organizations are being pushed to rapidly operate in new ways and redefine business models. During these challenging times, digital technologies are playing a significant role in their diverse forms and are providing solutions for addressing the current crisis and offering innovative solutions for achieving desired outputs. Friends, Government E-Marketplace is a state-of-the-art digital public procurement platform that has used technology to remove entry barriers for bona fide sellers and has created a vibrant e-marketplace with a wide range of goods and services. According to recent reports, GEM portal has more than 324,000 sellers and service providers who have registered on the portal so far to sell more than 18,50,000 products and more than 20,000 services. Public procurement worth ₹50,000 crores was envisioned to take place through GEM during 2019-20, against which actual achieved was 33,366 crores. But we have to consider well that it was the very first year. Anyways, it has been a great opportunity. It is a great opportunity for MSMEs, and going forward, it is proposed to take the turnover of GEM portal to ₹3 lakh crores in the near future, which there is no reason why it should not reach. provided it gets all the support from various government departments and PSUs. As per Rule 149 of GFR 2017, the government has made procurement of goods and services by ministries, departments of central and state governments mandatory through GEM platform. Envisaged by the Government of India under the aegis of Digital India Mission, GEM strives to keep pace with the ever-evolving technologies, technological challenges, and stakeholder aspirations. Friends, India has more than 6 crore MSMEs, but roughly only 32% of them are digitally engaged. The others must change their strategy and digitize their business processes to serve in the long run. MSMEs with a digital presence will grow faster as people will continue to avoid meeting each other, and e-selling will be the new normal. Indeed, e-commerce marketplace has witnessed 125% increase in the new sellers signing up on its platform in comparison to its existing seller base during April to June, as awareness spreads on the social distancing norms in the wake of COVID-19 crisis. The impact of the pandemic has urged businesses across the country to rethink their usual mode of operation and identify newer methods of working. One of the key concerns for most MSMEs in India is the lack of working capital. Inability to recover outstanding dues in time has led to severe challenges even for the most profitable companies offering highly popular products and services. In this situation, adopting the trade receivables discounting system TREDS for unlocking the potential of their receivables would open up multiple opportunities. TREDS is a great help and enables a level playing field where all participants work together for facilitating, accepting, discounting, and settling invoices. GEM is an extraordinary platform to help MSME sector by encouraging businesses between the government and industry and businesses visionaries on the web. GEM helps in enhancing the quality and proficiency of the products and services to offer, especially the ones sourced from the MSME sector. Having such a galaxy of experts today to guide us on the GEM portal and the TREDS platform, I think a lot of queries that our participants might be having shall definitely be addressed. But I would like to point out one or two points from my side. One of which is that recently we very much welcome the Finance Minister's announcement of 2nd July that 1% penalty per month shall be applied for delayed payments on GEM portal. But it seems that all of that penalty is going to be utilized by the GEM portal itself. As a chamber, we feel that at least 90% of the penalty should be given to the MSME concerned, which has incurred the loss on a back-to-back basis, and only the 10% of that should be retained by the goods e-marketplace. And let me assure you that the amount is going to be huge, because considering the delays that the MSMEs are facing in their payments, the penalty amounts are also going to be very huge. But MSMEs would be really grateful if this interest, at least 90% of the penalty, is made payable to them. One more issue is that many government departments are yet to start using the GEM portal, which probably under the new GFR is mandatory. So our request would be to find ways and means to ensure that all government departments and PSUs start using the GEM portal without fail, which would be of great help to the industry, especially MSMEs. One third point that I would like to mention is about the hesitation of PSUs in joining trades. We are seeing a lot of PSUs who are firstly delaying payments, and secondly are not joining trades because they say that they simply do not have the funds to make the payments in time as required on the trades platform. So this is another issue which probably needs to be addressed. Anyways, there is this new announcement which I came across very recently. I've not fully understood the full implications of that, but probably GEM portal is going to be linked to the Udyog Aadhaar registration or the enterprise registration. I think that should be a very positive step, and I think the eminent panelists today would also explain us in greater detail on that also. With this, I'm again happy to thank you all for joining this webinar, and I request Dr. Mehta to take the program forward. Thank you. Dr. Mehta, are you there? In that case, I would request our co-chair of the MSME committee, Mr. D.P. Goyal, to go ahead with his address, please. Mr. Goyal, please unmute yourself.
Sorry, in fact, I lost the connection. Thank you very much, sir, for setting the tone for today's webinar. So now I would request Mr. D.P. Goyal, who is the co-chairman of MSME committee, to give his perspective. So we also have been joined by the CEO, Mr. Taleen Kumar. Yes, now, sir, welcome.
Mr. Taleen Kumar, you are welcome to our webinar. Goyal sir, you have to unmute yourself. You are muted.
I think he's on call. Mr. Goyal, over to you. Yeah.
Yeah. Am I audible now?
Yes, yes.
So thank you very much, Dr. Mehta, and thank you very much, Mr. Sanjay. Sir, now in MSME, what we, I think this is...
Goyal sir, have you joined from 2 connections?
Because this internet was not working,
You'll have to start one of the connection, please.
I'm setting off. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, thank you very much for giving this opportunity, and this is a wonderful program PSG Chamber has organized for GEM portal. Now, what I understand is that GEM is a replacement to earlier DGS&D. Now, DGS&D we have been dealing for the last more than 30-40 years, and when DGS&D was there were certain compulsions for the industry to come on the DGS&D platform. Number one was the inspection of the factories where the products were being manufactured. And then whenever the order was given through DGS&D, then inspectors used to come to inspect the material, and Inspector Raj was very clearly available at that time. Now with this GEM portal, जितनी भी ये परेशानियां थी सब दूर हो गई हैं, and this is an open platform for each and every manufacturer. Instead of a few limited manufacturers, now this is open for one and all. So this is a very good thing which the government has done, and this is open to the smallest manufacturer to the biggest one, for the startups and for all people in this trade who are manufacturing good products, regular products for the industry, for the government. They can participate in the GEM portal. Now, the best advantage is the people who are close to the customers, they get the advantage. पहले क्या होता था कि दिल्ली से अगर मटेरियल कहीं मेड्रास जाना है या कलकत्ता जाना है, तो the freight component was there. Now, if people are there in that vicinity and they are also able to participate in the tender, so government की तरफ से उनको ये benefit मिल जाता है कि जितना freight component था या जितना payment में delays था, all is taken care of. So GEM is a very good portal for all the industries who wish to deal with the government. सबसे बड़ी एक प्रॉब्लम जो हम फेस करते हैं इंडस्ट्री के अंदर वो ये है कि it is not very popular with the manufacturers. So what I propose is कि this GEM की जितनी advantages हैं या जो इसके benefits हैं, all these experts will tell us about the various aspects of GEM कि कैसे इसके अंदर registration करना है, कैसे इसके अंदर participate करना है, वो सब तो हमारे expert हमको बताएंगे ही, लेकिन इसको popularize कैसे करना है small and माइक्रो इंडस्ट्रीज में, दैट इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. एंड व्हाट आई फील इज के जितनी भी हमारी ट्रेड एसोसिएशंस हैं ऑल ओवर द कंट्री, जैसे मानेसर इंडस्ट्रियल एसोसिएशन है, गुड़गांव इंडस्ट्रियल एसोसिएशन है, या करनाल इंडस्ट्रियल एसोसिएशन है, अगर उनके साथ इंटरेक्शन जेम पोर्टल वालों का बढ़ा दिया जाए तो उससे ये स्कीम ज्यादा पॉपुलर हो सकती है, ज्यादा लोग इसमें पार्टिसिपेट कर सकते हैं और काफी लोगों को इसके अंदर फायदा हो सकता है. सो आई फील इफ इट कैन बी मेड मोर पॉपुलर थ्रू whatever means, एसोसिएशन से है या एमएसएमई डायरेक्टरी की तरफ से है, so this should be made more popular so that more people can participate and get advantage of this portal. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Goyal, for your suggestions. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we have Mr. Ketan Gaikwad, Managing Director and CEO, RXIL Receivable Exchange of India Limited, for his address. Over to you, Mr. Gaikwad.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Sanjay Agarwal, the Senior Vice President, PhD, CACI, Mr. Goyal ji, and Mr. Taleen Kumar, CEO, GEMS Portal. Thank you. It's a nice meeting you again on to eConnect. My address is all about threads, and I'm going to talk about threads. I'll take 15 minutes for that. So I'll share the screen and I'll give a brief, presentation on what threads is all about. So can you please tell me if you can see my screen?
Yes, yes. We can see your screen.
Yeah, so we have been talking all about, the MSMEs and the problems which MSMEs face. So there was a survey which was done by Times of India somewhere in November 2050. I'll just come back to what is the importance of MSMEs. So 11 crore jobs, 29% of Indian GDP, and 55% of total exports. And 6.5 crores MSMEs are there. So despite the large contribution from MSMEs always have problems about delayed payments. So there was a study which was done by Times of India in 2019, and they found that they did a study of around 119 MSMEs. They found that although there is an MSMED Act which is there, still the MSMEs do not receive the payment well within time. They always receive the payment after 70% of the respondents have said that very clearly, that they receive the payments after 60 to 90 days. And sometimes when they do the follow-up also, they have to write off the payments. And who are the troublesome customers for them? So, you have 24% of them, the surveyed people, surveyed MSMEs, they found that 24% were supplying to government and PSUs, and 42% were supplying to private sector. And in the survey which was done somewhere in November 2000 during Diwali time, it was known very clearly that at that point of time, 88,000 crores dues were awaited, or they were not paid to the MSME. Now that figure has multiplied 5 times during the COVID scenario. The figure is somewhere around 5.25 lakh crore, which is what is being talked about now. So despite this, the government knew that there was a lot of issues and delayed payments. So then the government came out with various procedures, mechanisms on how we can avoid this delayed payment. So in 2006, MSMED Act came into being. It said very clearly 45 days, within 45 days, MSMEs have to be paid. In 2012, the government came out with the directive that all the accounts should disclose MSME dues and how much MSMEs are there, to whom, from whom you're buying it. 2015 MSME Samadhan portal came in as a redressal mechanism, wherein the smallest of the MSMEs can go and complain for their delayed payment. In 2015, the RBI came out with the trades receivables discounting system, on which I'm going to talk about. In 2019, RBI came out with a facility wherein this is under works. It's under WIP, wherein you could, this particular utility portal can name and shame the defaulters. This is how the trades evolution came into being from 2018 to 2020 as is now. In 2008, it was conceptualized, and 2016, 2015, the RBI gave an in-principle approval for SIDBI and NSE to form a joint venture. So that's how Receivables Exchange was formed. So Receivables Exchange did a first transaction in 2017. The first transaction happened in 2017. What about RXIL? So RXIL is basically a joint venture between SIDBI and NSE. SIDBI is the development institution and for MSMEs and small corporates, and NSE is the National Stock Exchange. So these are the largest holders. They hold 30%. Then we have State Bank of India, ICICI Bank holding 16%, and Yes Bank is also one of the things. So Trades is basically a digital platform which ensures easy liquidity for the MSMEs against their large receivables. It's a digital platform completely. So this is RXL vision that you should be serving around 1 lakh MSMEs by FY 2022. So what is Trades? So coming back to Trades, when I'm going to talk about Trades, Trades is basically a platform wherein we have the MSME suppliers. So it's a one-to-many and many-to-one kind of a platform wherein we have the buyers, sellers, and the financiers on the platform. So we have the buyers are the large corporates and the PSUs and the government departments. The sellers are primarily the MSMEs, and the Trades platform is our Trades platform. And then there are financiers which are allowed to come onto the platform. So RBI as of now allows public sector banks, private sector banks, and MNC banks and NBFC factors to come to the platform. So this is one-to-many and many-to-one. So one supplier will be supplying to many buyers, or one buyer might be buying it from many suppliers, or vice versa. So this particular platform has 3 participants very clearly on the platform, which is the buyer, seller, and the financier. So these parties, apart from the buyer and the seller, will have a buyer-seller contract, purchase and sell contract again with them, and financier. So these 3 parties execute agreement only with the exchange, and that's what the beauty is, that they don't have to execute any further agreements with any financier or any buyer or any seller. So since I have very clearly said about that this is a one-to-many, many-to-one kind of a scenario wherein on the platform, then you have the buyers. We create a buyer-seller link, so to ensure that the same buyer gets the supply, the invoices which are mapped to those particular from those sellers, and the same thing goes the vice versa also. So on this buyer-seller link, what are the things which are decided? The rate is decided. Who's going to bear the cost on the interest or the financing? Who's going to bear the cost? Whether it's going to be borne by the buyer or the seller or by both, it is what is decided. Who's going to bear the transaction charges? So the transaction charges are primarily of the Trades platform. And what is normally the default credit period for this particular transaction? So as what I clearly said, that there are 3 participants in the platform, which is the MSME vendor, buyer, and the financier. So there is a goods and services agreement contract which happens between the buyer and the seller, which is prior to coming on the platform. And then once the goods or services, when the goods or the services are supplied, then the invoices are loaded onto the platform of RXL or the Trades platform. And then it is to be noted that in the facility or the liquidity or the discounting which happens to the MSME vendors, it is always without any recourse and without any collateral for the MSME. So that's the beauty of the platform, that once the invoices are uploaded, and please keep it in mind that the buyer has to accept those invoices all along. So this platform is actually mandated to give liquidity to the MSME vendor against the credit risk of the buyer. So once the MSME vendor has uploaded the invoices on the platform, it needs to be accepted. So there's a counterparty approval which happens, that is the invoices are uploaded by the MSME vendor or the buyer, the either ways. The other party has to accept it. And once it is accepted, it becomes a factoring unit. And once it becomes a factoring unit, then the financier starts bidding for it. Once the financier has bid for it, so you have different financiers actually bidding for that particular asset of that particular buyer. Depending on the credit worthiness of the buyer, the financiers start bidding for it. On our platform, we have seen the rate of interest for MSMEs go up to 5.9%. Can you imagine the rate of 5.9% when you're supplying to the large corporate? You don't have to worry about the liquidity. Tomorrow you come on the platform, and if the buyer is already there on the platform, and if he accepts those invoices, you're going to get liquidity, easy cash at the same time within 48 hours at 5.9 or 5.6%. So normally the financing on a platform happens between the range of 6% to 9% is what we have seen. So once the financiers have bid for it, then whoever being the rate cost bearer, they will actually accept that particular invoice or accept that particular bid. And once the bid is accepted, then there's an obligation which is created between the buyer and the financier. And once the obligation is created, then the remittance happens to the MSME vendor the next day. So it is something like this, that today the invoices are loaded on the platform. It is accepted by the buyer. and the financier is also quoted the rate, and it is accepted. So this entire transaction, if it happens within before 4 o'clock, then the vendor can receive the payment the next day. So that is the biggest advantage, and it's completely digital, and that's why without any manual intervention, and that's why it can happen seamlessly. So once the credit has happened to the MSME vendor on that particular day, on the due date, we get a payment from the buyer, and the financier gets the payment. So basically, the TREDS platform pulls the payment from the buyer on the particular due date. So we have a NACH mandate which is given by the buyer, against which we go and debit the account of the buyer. So we do not wait for the buyer to remit the money, we pull the money. And that's why it's very important to note that, tomorrow, once the buyer on the platform accepts that particular invoices, he cannot come back saying, no, there is a performance issue, there is a set off issue, or there is some discount, nothing. So whatever amount has been accepted, he has to make the payment on the due date for that exact amount. If he has to do some reduction or anything, he should have done it earlier prior to accepting it. But once it is accepted, it becomes a clear-cut obligation by the buyer to make the payment on the due date. There are two types of processes which happen on the platform. One is the factoring process flow, and where the sellers upload the invoices. When the seller uploads the invoices, the buyer will accept it. And once the buyer has accepted it, keep it in mind on the TREDS platform, it is always important to note that it is always the buyer who has to accept the invoices, because this particular facility is without recourse to the supplier and without any performance issues. So, and without any collateral. So that's why it is very important that the buyer has to accept the invoices. When the buyer has accepted the invoices, then the financier will bid for it. The seller accepts the bid, and then the financier disburses the funds as per the on the due date. On the due date, the financiers receive the outstanding amount from the buyer. And the same thing happens even for the reverse factoring, wherein the buyer now says that, I will upload the invoices. For the seller, you make the payment to the seller. So the buyer uploads the invoices for where the MSME supplier has supplied the goods to the buyer, and then the financier bid for the invoices. The buyer accepts the bid, and the financier disburses the funds to the supplier. So this is how very simple it is. But you have to note that the sellers have to get registered, the buyer has to get registered, and it is very important to note. I keep on saying that again and again that look, this has to be accepted by the buyer all the time. And then on the due date, the financier receives the payment. So what are the benefits for the MSME sellers? The way the this particular MSME platform is envisaged, it has to ensure that there is no problem. The delayed payments, which we keep on talking about, that gets taken care of. So the liquidity is managed for the MSME sellers. So the seller receives the funds within 48 hours. So he doesn't have to follow up with what is currently happening for most of the MSME seller payments is happening. Multiple finances, he gets access to multiple finances, because when you have a normal MSME, seller discounting happening, he can have access only to 1 or 2 banks. But here he has an array of 30-40 banks which are there, which are ready to finance those invoices at a very market discovered rate. And so the rate is also not fixed. Sometimes the rates are much better than what even the supplier has got the day earlier. And it is lowering the cost of funds. The cost of funds which you've seen on a platform. So when we talk about any normal supplier financing program, in this depressed rate scenario, normally we see the rate of interest as somewhere around 10 to 12%, and it's with recourse and with full collateral guarantees and other things. But here you have an invoice which gets financed without any collateral and without any and it's without recourse borrowing. So the biggest advantage is that the moment the supplier gets the cash, he can liquidate it without any hooks over there. The buyers have got they can easily integrate with the system, and we have seen that the buyers who actually come on the platform, they benefited a lot because of the rate of interest which comes on the platform. So they end up negotiating the rates with the MSMEs also, because if the MSME is receiving the earlier payments and if they're receiving it at a lower rate of interest, then we have seen that the buyers are renegotiating their procurement terms with the MSME with the MSME sellers. Then it strengthens the relationships. We have seen in case of BHEL, which went live somewhere in September, they did transactions worth around, they have now done transactions worth 450 crores till now. And very clearly in the month of March, the Association of MSMEs of BHEL have written clearly to us saying that for 300 crores transaction done in a period of 6 months, they have ended up saving 6 crores as interest. Can you imagine 6 crores of interest just because of the interest differential? Is that's what they have told us. So that's the greatest benefit which you have on the platform. The benefits for the finances are multiple. That these are all PSL accredited, so you get the priority sector lending benefit for the financiers. So that's why there is always a need for them to do priority sector lending. So this can come as a priority sector lending, as clearly defined by the government, to encourage the banks more and more financiers to come to the platform. There is a low risk of default because this is a supply chain, and normally we have seen that the trade payments are always the first priority given by the buyers or the sellers because they need to keep the organization going. So there is always a low risk of default over here. We have always seen that the financiers get automated reconciliation, and plus they have access to large quality customers over here. So there are many initiatives which the government has initiated. We have been working hand in hand with GEMS portal also. We've been working with DFS. We are working with MSME Ministry. Very clearly, the government's mandate is that you have to propagate TReDS platform to ensure that many of the MSME sellers take advantage of it. So that's why government is ensuring. Now you would have seen the ads in Times of India and Economic Times in the last week, wherein SIDBI has initiated a fund, a risk management fund, especially for onboarding the MSME suppliers onto the TReDS platform. So till September, we have a waiver of charges also for the MSME suppliers to come to the platform. So when the TReDS platform went live, the government came out with the initiative that all the PSUs and the government departments have to necessarily register on the platform. Then all the advances financed through TReDS are categorized as priority sector lending. And 2018 November, the government came with a clear mandate that all the corporates with 500 crores turnover have to necessarily join on the TReDS platform. And then the government through DFS and various ministries keeps on asking on the progress of what is happening on the TReDS platform. In 2020, the government came with the initiative that even the NBFCs also can come on the platform and start financing it. We have integrated with GEMS portal. We have worked with Mr. Talin Kumar to ensure that we have with the 3 exchanges which are there are integrated with the TReDS platform. But we have not yet started the transaction because we were waiting for the transactions to start and COVID happened. But we have a lot of MSME suppliers who are normally there with us on the TReDS platform who are inquiring that do you do the financing on the TReDS platform also? The answer to that is yes. We also do financing for the TReDS transaction for the transactions which are through the GEMS platform. In the last COVID scenario, so the TReDS platform is the best thing which can happen to the MSMEs given the current disruption which is there, because here is a platform where you need not, where the MSMEs suppliers need to be paid immediately, or because they also have an ecosystem to run. They have the inventory, they have the salaries, they have the company to run. So you would have seen it when the lockdown the disruption started and the lockdown started. The many cash-rich corporates came back saying that we will not be making the payment to our suppliers. So if you are not going to make the payment to the MSME supplier, then who's going to make the payment? That's why the entire disruption is caused, and that's why the entire intervention is required for the government. So that's why we have been telling the government very clearly in the last 3 months, that you have to make PSUs mandatorily coming on the platform and transacting it. So there is always a hesitation from the PSUs to come to the platform, because all said and done, this is a platform which ensures transparency. So we have been telling very clearly to the government that, look, if you do not know, if this is a platform wherein you can come to know how many invoices have been uploaded to the MSMEs, how many have not been paid on time, and how many have been delayed, how many have been dishonored. So this is something which you can get it at the click of the button once you can make it mandatory that all the MSMEs have to route the platform, have the payment, all the PSUs have to route their payments to the TReDS platform. We've been very clearly talking to the government that, at least if nothing else, at least you should make it mandatory for the PSUs to start the transactions. At least you define the timeline of, that coming on the TReDS platform and getting the transaction started. So towards that, the Department of Public Enterprises have already started working towards it, that they have been sending reminders after reminders to all the CMDs of many companies to tell them that you have to necessarily come on the TReDS platform. You have to ensure that your MSMEs are enrolled and you make the payment electronically. Then we have been training very clearly that, you should be encouraging the banks to start financing, because
so Mr. Gaikwad, if you could wrap it up, because then we have
the last screen. Yeah. So, and we have been very clearly, talking to MSME associations to, for the creating awareness of the TRESS platform. And lastly, to tell you that, the digital onboarding process, we have a digital onboarding process for onboarding the MSMEs. So this is what it is from my side. And just to tell the MSMEs who are registered on the work in the conversation over here, that the onboarding charges on the platform have been waived off till September 2020. So that's it from my side. I'll be open for questions once the address by Mr. Taleen Kumar is on. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gayakwad, for your very comprehensive presentation. You said it right. In fact, we have been saying that PSU should also come under the threats so that the MSME's payment is not stuck. So this has been our request to the government for a very long time. You are also propagating the same. Thank you indeed. It is very essential. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I invite Mr. Manoj Lal, General Manager, NSIC Limited, for his presentation.
Yeah. Good afternoon, everybody.
Yeah.
Good afternoon, respected CEO GEM, Mr. Taleen Kumar, and the other delegates from PSD CCI, Mr. Sanjay Agarwal, Mr. DP Goel, Mr. Ranjit Mehta. At the outset, I would like to congratulate PSD CCI for organizing such a wonderful, and it is very relevant to the Times program. This was need of the hour. I'm here with my team to listen to more of GEM, what they are offering, although we did a program with them some time back. So, but I thought I would take this opportunity to tell something about NSIC, which will be more of relevance to the participants. We have a scheme called as Consortia and Tender Marketing Scheme, where, NSIC participates in tenders on behalf of the micro and small enterprises. Although the enterprises can participate directly also, we also participate on their behalf. We form a consortium and then we participate in the tenders. Now GEM has also onboarded us as a seller. So I wanted to, tell the participants, you have, very good number of participants listening to this program. They should come forward and avail the benefit of the scheme. And whatever, if they are not eligible, for example, if they are not eligible in participating in any tender on an individual basis, for that same product, we form a consortium and participate. So this is what they can, take the benefit of. We already have very successful consortia running on furnitures, on garments, on, recently about medical supplies we have started. So this is, although we run about 10, 12 schemes, but for this program, I thought I'll just give a brief about this consortia and tender marketing scheme, and the MSMEs can contact the nearest NSIC office or even the PSD chamber. They could tell them if they're facing any difficulty. We would be glad to assist them. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Manola. Thank you very much. This consortium effort is extremely appreciable by the NSIC. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we have Mr. Taleen Kumar. He is a 1987 batch officer from IAS officer from West Bengal cadre and from IIT Kanpur. He has done his MBA from University of Texas, and also he was recipient of a scholarship in University of Pennsylvania. He was also having a charge of DMIC before this and several other very important charges in Government of India. Over to you, Mr. Kumar. Thank you very much for joining us, sir.
Thank you very much. And I want to thank the chamber, the Punjab, Haryana, Delhi Chamber of Commerce and Industry for organizing.
Sir, it is progress. How many development? PhD now.
PhD, okay.
Yeah.
So I want to thank PhD for organizing this seminar, which is very important, especially during COVID period, when digital platforms and digital technologies, are holding sway over other modes of business, and they are also changing the world. So I once again thank all of you for joining this webinar, and I want to thank PhD for organizing this. Let me talk a little bit about GEM and what GEM is. So many people think that GEM is just a platform for procurement and वहाँ चीजें खरीदी जाती हैं by buyers. Well, That is a very, very narrow and definition of GEM, which does not do justice to GEM. See, GEM is much more than procurement, and I'll tell you why. Number one, GEM has engineered one of the largest transformational exercises in the country of legacy systems. Imagine every buyer procuring so much of goods and services. And by the way, our estimate is that the annual volume, purchase volume, procurement volume of goods and services by all central government organizations and by all state government organizations put together would be roughly 5 to 8 lakh crore per annum. I'm leaving aside works. If you count works, then it might become close to 15 lakh crore per annum. So only goods and services if you are purchasing, and imagine throughout the country by so many buyers, and imagine a legacy system of procurement, and imagine a disruptive platform that GEM provides, then you can have a feeling about and you can appreciate the efforts for changing from legacy to a disruptive platform. So it has engineered that change already, and more than 55,000 crore of procurement has happened on GEM since its inception on 9th of August 2016. So that is a good journey for a startup, good strong journey shown by GEM. Number two, the reason why it is more than procurement is, just look at the analytics, technology and digitization that is happening in GEM and across departments and across buyer departments, across sellers and across the country. So this has provided a lot of visibility into procurement. Procurement traditionally, how many people can say that they know what the buyer is going to spend, let us say in the next 1 year? How many MSMEs knew that the payment is going to come to them at this time? Or let us say it is due. How does the government come to know that so much of payment is due from a buyer to somebody else? Who is buying what? What is the procurement planning done by a buyer? How does the government monitor the behavior of a buyer while he is procuring? All these were opaque. In a digital platform, there is a lot of visibility into procurement. So this is number two reason for believing that GEM is much more than procurement. Number three is, if you see the 3 pillars that Honorable Prime Minister has expounded for GEM, and the 3 pillars are inclusivity, number one. Number two, usability and transparency. And number 3 is efficiency and cost savings. In all these 3 pillars, if you see, it has brought government to the people, because when people look at government, they want to see all these things. They want to see that government is inclusive. They want to see that government is transparent. And they want to see that government is protecting and is being efficient and guarding the exchequer's money by being efficient. Government to the people. And the fourth and final reason that GEM is much more than procurement is the fact that GEM as a digital platform is so powerful in terms of implementation that whatever is the policy intent of the government can be implemented very nicely on GEM and in a very transparent manner. For example, if you want to promote Make in India, then you can create filters for local content on the platform. You want to promote public procurement policy for micro and small enterprises. You want to reserve certain products for enterprises. All that can be done on the platform with a huge amount of transparency. So efficient transmission of policy intent is another reason why GEM is much more than procurement. Now, having said that, let me quickly give you, come back to the vision of GEM, which is inclusivity, usability and transparency, and efficiency and cost savings, and quickly explain to you what these are. On inclusivity, the idea is that we want to onboard all the MSMEs, all the weavers, all the artisans, craftsmen, self-help groups in rural areas, even tri-fed functionaries from members, our brothers and sisters from the tribal communities. We want to welcome them on GEM and give them a large market, which is a country-wide market of government buyers. So this is one area where GEM has been quite successful. And if you look at all the procurement in 2019-20, you will find that of all procurement which happened on GEM in that year, 69% were contributed by MSMEs, women entrepreneurs, and startups. So we have even startups on GEM, about 6,000 of them. We have more than 4 lakh vendors on GEM. 26%, more than 26% are MSMEs. And MSMEs contribute more than 56% to the cumulative order volume on GEM. So this is, and we are in the process of expanding the seller base even more. So inclusivity is a big pillar on GEM and perhaps the most important. Second is usability and transparency. We want more and more Indian vendors to use GEM. And what it will do is more and more Indian vendors using GEM means that they can diversify their business. Government can support them through their procurement policies, and ultimately they can grow with GEM. So usability is very important for us. And transparency is obviously very important because whatever happens on a rule-based platform is always transparent. There is no human being there to twist or to create any problems for you. Whatever you see on the portal, you see on the portal. So, and then in order to achieve usability and transparency, we use a lot of technology on the platform. So I'll give you a glimpse of the technology, but before that, let me quickly describe the unified procurement system which Honorable Finance Minister had mentioned in the budget speech. If you look at para 48 of the budget speech of the Honorable Finance Minister for financial year 2021, you will find that she mentions the words unified procurement system for the country. What it means is that in the country there are many portals, publishing portals like the Central Public Procurement Portal, like Indian Railway Electronic Procurement System, like Defense Public Procurement Portal. These are outside GEM, and many buyers are going there for publishing, tenders for works, etc., even for goods and services. So what we are going to do is we have already created a feature. It has gone live. This is called the GEM Availability Report and Past Transaction Summary. And what it means is that a buyer will have to come on GEM first, look for the product or service he is trying to buy. GEM will create a report for the buyer, which is totally automated. And that report will be given to the buyer with an ID. And when he goes and publishes the tender outside GEM, if he purchases on GEM, there is no problem. If he goes outside GEM, then the portal is going to ask for the information, the ID number for the report. And that ID is validated with GEM, and unless the ID is given by the buyer, he will not be able to publish the tender outside GEM. And if he wants to come on GEM and publish, that is fine. So the idea is that he gets a uniform experience if he publishes on GEM also. In other words, the functionalities of other procurement portals will also be brought on GEM, so that the buyer gets a single user experience. And the buyer is, he does not have to hop from one platform to the other. He can come on GEM and he can meet all his procurement needs from GEM. Now coming to technology, what we are trying to do here is, we are trying to improve various aspects of the stakeholders' journeys on the platform. So we use analytics with machine learning and artificial intelligence to improve the buyers and users' journey on the platform. So people who indulge in malpractices, fraudulent behavior, all that can be detected through pattern mining and advanced analytics. So we will use that to improve the buyer's journeys and seller's journeys on the platform. Second is intervention is, we will use natural language processing to make the search more efficient on the platform. So when a buyer comes and searches, I'll give you a small example. If you want to search, let us say for laptops, if you type laptop 8 GB RAM, then the system should show only those laptops whose RAM is 8 GB or around 8 GB. And it should not show a RAM card to you with an 8 GB capacity. But unless you have a natural language processing layer built on top of your search engine, this kind of search will not be possible. So we are in the process of enabling natural language processing powered search for efficient and effective search. This is the second intervention. Third intervention is we will use Hyperledger and smart contracts for procurement of items in GeM, where traceability and authenticity is very important. For example, if you want to procure medicines, then you want to find out who the source was. Was the source authentic? Was there any tampering along the way? Were the temperature conditions necessary for transport of medicines, were they met? All these questions can be answered through blockchain. So the POC has started. The proof of concept with 2 districts in Uttar Pradesh has already started, and we want to learn from this proof of concept that we will do and then roll out in the final form Hyperledger and blockchain technology as part of GeM's digital supply chain infrastructure. This is the third one. Fourth one is we have built a seller invitation module. Any buyer can invite any number of sellers on GeM. So let us say the buyer is doing offline business. He can call the sellers and tell them that you should come on GeM because my next tender will be on GeM. So the seller invitation module is a very important module for GeM. The fifth one, another intervention would be the crowdsourcing of categories module. So any buyer or seller can come and request for a category. Many times sellers don't find the categories on GeM and they want to request. There was no place for them to request. So we have created a crowdsourcing module for categories. There is another intervention to prevent unauthorized buyers from procurement from GeM. So we have integrated with NIC in what is called the lightweight directory access protocol system. And that will prevent any unauthorized buyer from coming on GeM and purchasing from GeM. So this is a brief glimpse of advanced analytics and cutting edge technology and tools that we will use to make ease of procurement better, to go to the next level of transparency and usability, and even have cost effectiveness for the buyer and improve the buyers and sellers journeys on the platform. The third pillar, as I said, was cost effectiveness and efficiencies. What GeM always used to know and believe was that purchasing on GeM is always cheaper in terms of costs than purchasing on other platforms, and that has been substantiated by the World Bank, and the World Bank has clearly assessed independently and found out that on an average 9.75% is the saving from the median price on GeM. And they have analyzed not 1 or 2 tenders, they have analyzed more than 1,63,000 tenders on GeM, and they have come to this finding. They have also come to the finding that procurement from GeM is transparent by circulating a questionnaire and judging the response of the participants. That has also happened. Now coming to the real reason why, very powerful reason why sellers would like to be on GeM, and particularly MSMEs, is the recent historic decision of the Government of India to charge penal interest to the buyer in case of delayed payment to a seller. This circular came out on 3rd of July. And if you read it with the circular issued by Ministry of Finance on 23rd of January. So 23rd January read with 3rd July circular make things very clear. And what will ultimately happen is when a seller delivers some product, after delivery, after 4 days, if the provisional receipt certificate is not generated, then GeM will generate the receipt certificate. If after 10 days of delivery, consignee receipt and acceptance certificate is not generated by the buyer, GeM will generate the CRAC. And after 10 days of CRAC, if payment is not made by the buyer, then interest will be charged on the buyer at the rate of 1% per month. So for example, if the delay is 10 days, then 10 divided by 30, 0.33% interest will be charged on the buyer, and this amount will flow to an account maintained by GeM. And GeM cannot use the money unless it is authorized by the Ministry of Finance. But once authorized, I can use it for educating sellers. I can use it for educating buyers. I can use it in the interest of public procurement throughout the country. So I will appeal to all the sellers to come on GeM and also persuade their buyers to come on GeM so that the sellers get paid on time through GeM. That is one of the biggest advantages of coming on GeM. And we have also integrated with TReDS, as Mr. Gaikwad described, and we have integrated in such a way that among all the three operators, the lowest rate will be given to the seller. The most, most advantageous rate will be given to the seller in terms of discounting, bill discounting. So we have done that. We are also looking at some fintech solutions on the platform through which the seller can give a consent to send his transaction data to banks, and the banks can there and then sanction a loan to the seller in form of working capital loans. So that also is a possibility, and in fact that is wave 2 of TReDS. And I read in a committee's report that instead of depending on the buyer, now this has been enabled that a bank can directly lend to the seller. This is another way of easing his working capital inflows. So this also is a possibility on GeM. Now coming to the other aspects of the platform, we are rapidly moving towards GeM 4.0, which is the new version of GeM. This will be much smarter, much more powerful, feature rich, and this will happen by September. And the features that we have in mind, some of the features that I will tell you are, for the buyers, like consignee-wise, item-wise bidding, price variation clauses, staggered delivery will be enabled, demand aggregation will be enabled. So all these big ticket items which you cannot even imagine of doing on a publishing portal will all be available in the marketplace. And these functions and functionalities and features will allow big buyers like CPSEs, like railways, like defense, to also come and procure from GeM. And all their needs, procurement needs and functionalities, we will meet on GeM. So this is what I had to say in a brief, in a nutshell. There are many areas over which if I explain, it will take a lot of time. So in the interest of time, let me stop here. And if there are questions for me, I will be happy to answer.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for your very, very comprehensive address. Also, you told us about the launching of GeM 4.0 from September. So while I think that time you had not logged in, our senior vice president, he had one suggestion to make. He said that out of the penalty of 1% that GeM will be charging, maybe that 90% can be given to the MSME who is suffering because of the delay payment, and 10% can be kept by the GeM portal. So we would like to know your response on this, sir.
This is not, this enablement has been done by the Ministry of Finance, Department of Expenditure, and GEM is implementing that decision on the portal. So this decision is not a GEM only decision. You know,
Right.
I'm also a party to the decision, but this decision is by the Department of Expenditure, Ministry of Finance, and they have said that this money cannot be taken out by anybody without their prior concurrence. And they have indicated in the order how the money will be used. And they have said that for education of buyers and sellers and in the interest of public procurement in the country. So I'm leaving it to the Department of Expenditure to find the best use of that. And it may not be appropriate for me to comment because the circular has not been issued
Right.
by.
Right, sir. So, in fact, this was the main question, sir, that we had. And if anybody out of the panelists, so one of the thing which Mr. Gayakwad said that all PSUs should necessarily use the threads. They should come under threads. So, what is your comment on this, sir?
No, that is TREADS is a good enabling platform by the Government of India. And the sellers and the buyers should always utilize this platform. You know, the CPSC should utilize this platform for their own sellers who will get benefited through bill discounting. And if the working capital needs are met quickly, maybe the cost of procurement may also go down because each time the seller is uncertain about payment, he tries to factor in that extra cost while he quotes a price. And ultimately, if the payment is done to the seller on time, you see the seller will ultimately not start padding that price, extra premium, and the country will benefit through a lower average cost of procurement. And also,
Right,
sometimes good buyers who pay on time are penalized by bad buyers because the seller does not know who the buyer will be. So even if 3 or 4 buyers are making delayed payments, the seller doesn't know who the buyer will be. So he is going to jack up his price because nothing comes for free in the world of finance.
You're right, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much for your very comprehensive address, and you have answered all the queries that we had. But at the same time, we have a presentation from GEM, a presentation by Mr. Suraj Sharma, sir. On behalf of PhD Chamber, we thank you very much. I think you had to leave, and there are other people from GEM who will be answering. First of all, we want to place on records our appreciation, our thankfulness, our gratefulness to you for coming here and shared your views on this very important subject. So that shows that how committed the government is for promoting this portal like GEM for the benefit of MSMEs and all the industries in India to access the market. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Now over to you, Mr. Suraj Singh, for your presentation on GEM, the senior trainer from GEM.
Good evening, everyone. And my name is Suraj Sharma, and I am the business facilitator for Delhi and Rajasthan areas. So let me share my screen. I hope my screen is visible now.
Yes, yes.
So my presentation will include some basic features for GEM. What are the new features that we are going to introduce? What are the benefits for MSCs on GEM, and how we have implemented on that. So as just a brief history, GEM was launched on 9th August 2016, and we follow procurement based on Rule 149 of GFR, that is General Financial Rules, which says that procurements of goods and services by ministries or department will be mandatory for goods and services available on GEM. GEM aims to enhance efficiency, transparency, and inclusiveness in public procurement. So it's a very efficient portal as compared to the manual mode of procurement. And with time, we introduce lots of changes and which helps buyers and sellers for an easy procurement. It is a very transparent portal. So basically it's a contactless portal. You can see cashless, contactless, and paperless. These are the three pillars that we have. So buyers and sellers, they cannot communicate before placement of the order. So that way it is very transparent. Also, we don't show the seller name on the website. So any two sellers will be same with respect to buyers. Buyers can only see the product price and the product name. Inclusiveness in public procurement. So all the sellers are invited to come and join, be it manufacturers or a trader or a service provider or MSC or startups, self-help groups, artisans, weavers. So everyone is invited to join. Then we have three methods by which buyers can place orders. One is direct purchase, one is bidding, reverse auction, and L1 purchase. So on your screen, you can see the map of India. So GEM has signed an MOU with 32 states and UTs. So as per the MOU, these all states and UTs are actively procuring from GEM. On the right hand side, you can see lots of banks, so which are integrated with GEM, and also they have MOU with GEM. So they provide services like EMD and EPBG, that is the earnest money deposit and performance bank guarantee, as well as GEM pool account. On the left hand side, you can see all the industry associations. So we constantly include seller workshops and seller development webinars. On the top, you can see the servers. So these are like Income Tax Department, Ministry of Corporate Affairs, PAN database, Aadhaar database, PFMS database. So everything is integrated with GEM. So there is no paperwork required. These are the current numbers that we have achieved. Till now, we have done around 56,156 crores as of today. Total number of orders that have been executed is 41 lakhs. Products almost 19 lakhs. We have services also, around 120 plus services are already live on site. More than 4 lakh sellers and 45,000 primary buyers. So these are the current numbers. Again, three more pillars for features of GEM. It's an efficient portal. So we have a single window for procuring all goods and services. Real-time data is there for reporting and decision making. It is a very transparent portal. So we provide various tools to buyer so that they can take a very, it will help in their decision making of purchasing. And economical also. So we have noticed savings on GEM portal. As sir previously said, we noticed a saving of around 9.75%. Some of the advantages of seller, first one is direct access to all government department. So let me tell you with an example. If I am a seller in Delhi and I register on GEM portal, and if I am able to deliver across all India, so even from any farther part, like for example, Tamil Nadu government, there is a buyer on GEM. So if he wants the same product that I manufacture, so he can see my product in the list. So seller has an ability to showcase his products across all India. So without any marketing cost, my product will be visible to all India buyers on GEM. And if I keep my price very competitive, I will be on the top if the buyer sorts with low to high pricing. So this is the way sellers can have access to all government departments. one-stop shop for bids and reverse auction. So this is the only site. This site has bids and reverse auction also. Then we have dynamic pricing. So pricing, as the market changes, the pricing also changes for products. So we have upward and downward revision of pricing available. So seller can change the prices. Strong vendor rating system. So we have a performance driven vendor rating system also. It is a star rating. So whatever rating you have will be displayed on all sellers products. And if you do good on GEM, your rating will increase. Suppose you deliver within the time and there is no complaint, there is no issue about quality, so your rating will automatically be increased on GEM. New product suggestion facility available to sellers. So we have a crowdsourcing link wherein sellers can also request to GEM for category creation. Seller friendly dashboard for selling and monitoring of supplies and payments. So dashboard is one link in your account which will help you monitor your performance as well as operations on GEM. You can see how many orders are pending for delivery, pending for shipment, how many orders are being received by buyers, and how many bids I have participated, how many payments are pending. So everything can be seen from dashboard. News and event section for regular updates. So, and lastly, we have new on GEM. So new on GEM is a link wherein we show new products and new service categories that we have created. Also, we show new features on GEM, which we launch. So these are the 4 methods by which buyers can place orders. So first one is direct purchase. This means any item which is less than 25,000, buyers can select that item in the shopping cart and make a purchase. So this is, as the name suggests, it is a direct purchase. Second one is L1 purchase, which belongs from 25,000 to 5 lakhs. So if the budget of buyer or the product cost is between 25,000 to 5 lakhs, buyer has to use this method. So he can he has to compare 3 different manufacturers on GEM, and GEM will suggest him a comparison table, and GEM will suggest a L1, that is the lowest among all the products. So whatever specifications or filters buyer has applied, GEM will suggest the lowest product according to those golden parameters, and buyer can purchase it. So third option is bidding and reverse auction. So first of all, bidding and reverse auction can be done at any amount on GEM, but for more than 5 lakhs, it is mandatory for buyers to go through either bid or a reverse auction. And the last method is intent of buying. So one is bid. If we select intent of buying as bid, so we are making, we are declaring that we are going to place a bid. And PAC is proprietary article certificate. So if a buyer wants a particular brand, a proprietary article, so he has to use this PAC method. So we have 2 types of users, primary and secondary. So within your one seller account, you will register as a primary user, and later on you can create accounts for secondary users. And these are role based, like one can upload products, one can participate in bids, one can process invoices. Now we'll see how the public procurement policy for MSC. The policy says that 25% of the goods and services should be from MSCs, which includes 4% from MSC owned by SC/ST and 3% from MSC owned by women entrepreneurs. The benefits which are given to MSC under this policy, that there is free of cost tender, that means there is no EMD cost, exemption free. And we have purchase preference for minimum 25% quantity to MSCs within L1 plus 15%. So if a buyer wants to apply this policy in their bid, they can do so. And any MSC seller who has quoted within L1 plus 15%, so they will be offered quantities. And 358 items which are exclusively reserved for MSCs, they are available on GEM. So let us see how GEM has deployed these features. First, we have API integration with Udyog Aadhaar. So all sellers who are MSC, they are required to validate their MSC status through Udyog Aadhaar. They will enter their UAM number and GEM will verify that UAM number online. Once you are verified, you will be taken as MSC seller. So all the benefits of MSC, you can have it. So MSCs are exempted from EMD if you are MSC for that particular product category. And also if you are service provider of that particular service category. And your credential should be validated online and supporting documents are uploaded. Also, buyer has one option that they can exempt MSCs from turnover and past experience. So this is option is when they place a bid. So this one more feature that we have in the clauses section is that purchase preference to MSCs can be given, and also purchase from MSME from the state of the bid also is there. So for getting this benefit, the bidder has to be the manufacturer of the offered product in case of goods, and he has to be the service provider of the offered service. So again, I will give the example. If L1 comes between L1 plus 15%, if the L1 is not an MSC, and MSC sellers, others who have quoted for that tender, if they are between L1 plus 15%, such seller shall be given opportunity to match the L1 price, and contract will be awarded for percentage of the total value. So 25% will be divided among maximum 5 MSC sellers. Traders are excluded from this policy. Okay, this is same for states also. First we saw for central government, now this is for states. The same is applied on GEM. So you have to upload the necessary document to prove your eligibility that you are MSC for any tender. The buyer will evaluate your document and he will find out whether the bidder is eligible for EMD exemption or not. Now coming to the recent feature, GEM has now created a COVID dashboard on the GEM homepage. So you can see this banner on GEM whenever you visit, and you can access this dashboard. So we have given exclusive benefits for buyers, like they can place the bid in 3 days only. Earlier this time was minimum 10 days. Now they can place the bid for 3 days only for COVID categories. And they can select a 2-day delivery period. Under this, also all COVID product sellers have to mandatory refresh their stocks every 48 hours. Their brand and product approval are being approved on priority. And we have created almost 200 plus categories for this dashboard. Second feature is crowdsourcing of categories from sellers. As I said that this is a special initiative by GEM, and we have asked sellers to go to this link and request for their product category or service category, and GEM will consider for creation. So a small presentation on how a seller can come on portal. So these are the documents or the prerequisites for registration. So as I said, first you have to register as a primary seller. You need Aadhaar number or the virtual ID or the PAN of the user. You can register via your Aadhaar name, Aadhaar card, or by your PAN number. Mobile number linked with Aadhaar is required. Active email address and documents as per constitution type. So we have a proprietorship, we have company private limited, we have partnership, and we have trust and government as a seller also. So accordingly, the documents are required, such as CIN number, PAN number, UAM, DIPP is for startups, ITR details, address and bank account details. So registration should be done by any authorized person or a key person. And primary sellers have the option to create secondary sellers. As I said, they can create a role-based secondary users. your Udyog Aadhaar memorandum number and DIPP, both the numbers will be validated online, and we can take you as MSc seller or a registered startup. And if you are a product provider also and services provider, you don't need 2 accounts. You can do it from 1 account only. There is no separate registration required. Some features we have recently introduced. So all the list of categories on GeM, they are available as in a downloadable format. So anytime you can go and check whether your product category is there or not. If you have large number of products, you can search it by product IDs. Buyer has the option to cancel the contract if the invoice has been generated. So this is a new feature. GeM pool account, the non-challan model has been launched for all PSU and non-PFMS. ITR verification exemption. So for the states of Northeast and J&K and Ladakh, the ITR verification is exempted. And alternate contact number. The seller can now provide alternate contact number, which could be a landline number, in order for buyer to contact them. So after the order is placed, buyer and seller can communicate. Next we come to GeM 4.0, a very powerful version. I will quickly short down what are the features that we are going to introduce in it. So it's a very smarter, better and intelligent system. So we have make use of new software processes like blockchain technology and Hyperledger to improve the GeM system. We are making use of artificial intelligence, machine learning and deep learning. We have a revamped user interface and user experience. So I will just give an example. On the right hand side, you can see a box. This box is Gemmy. Gemmy is a chatbot. So chatbot is something wherein you type and chatbot will give you answers for your keywords. So, and in 4.0, we have improved the effectiveness of this chatbot. So it will give more effective answers, which is concerned to your issues. And again, we have NLP based search engine, ease of payments, customized dashboards, dedicated page for CPSCs and seller incentivization. And lastly, these are the modes by which you can contact us. We have a call center. Both the numbers are available on the screen. We have a live chat feature on the portal also. Along with Gemmy, Gemmy is a chatbot. We have a live chat feature wherein you can chat with a live agent. And we have the help desk email address as well as manager training email address for escalations. And you can contact help desk. A ticket will be generated for your query. And lastly, we have FAQs. FAQs are knowledge base on GeM. You can come and access them anytime and search your queries. You will certainly find your answer there. These are our social media handles. You can follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and LinkedIn. All right, that was my presentation. Now we can go ahead for question answers.
Thank you, Mr. Suresh Kumar. So you can remove the presentation. Thank you indeed. So, ladies and gentlemen, this house is open for some questions, and we have a whole team of GeM. We have Mr. Dipesh Gehlot, ISS Director, Government E-Marketplace, and Mr. Rajesh Jain, Deputy CEO, Government E-Marketplace, to answer all your queries. So you may like to answer, you may like to, raise your hand or send your query through the chat box that we have here. So one question we have is, in the last GeM webinar, it was stated that the minimum participation criteria is crores of annual turnover in the last 3 years. Previous experience of having sold the same item to any of the government organizations extra. Previous experience of having sold to any government organization extra has been removed for MSMEs, but still we are seeing such tenders. Where to complain about such matter in GEM? Mr. Siva Burbanmani is writing to us. So over to you, the team of the GeM, please. Mr. Rajesh Jain. Would you like to respond to
Yeah,
this?
see, the MSME policy is fully implemented on GEM. The MSME policy itself says that the buyer may exempt MSMEs from the turnover and past experience criteria. If the policy says may, GEM cannot make it must. So it is now buyer's decision, buyer's call whether he want to exempt in a particular procurement or not. So we have enabled a provision wherein we allow the buyer to click a button and just say that I want to exempt all MSMEs from the requirement of turnover and everything. So if he want to, he can do it, but we cannot force him to do it because it depends on the criticality of his requirement, urgency of his requirement, type of item he is procuring. So what we have implemented is as per MSME policy. If the MSME ministry makes it mandatory to exempt in all cases, we can also make it mandatory.
Okay. So he says, Sachin Kumar writes, how do we check credibility in GEM of the supplier if names are not there before ordering?
Okay, I don't know. There are buyers also on this portal, on this in this meeting.
This is a question. People,
this
you know,
question should not come from
may,
seller. This question
a
should
same
not
person
come from
can be
seller.
buyer and seller both, I guess. He may
No,
have two companies.
as far as buyers are concerned, the government e-marketplace is meant for buying only by the government buyers. So only government officers can be buyers on GEM.
Okay. Okay. Shantanu Bhattacharya, he writes that from Ajit Industries, we are OEM for a product, but don't have a trademark yet. I don't know. He says, is it mandatory to have the vendor assessment if we are not exempted as we don't fall under any of the exemption category? Will our vendor assessment pass without trademark?
Yes,
Second question.
There is no mandatory requirement of trademark unless you want to own a brand on GEM. You are not required to own a trademark. If you are doing business as an OEM, just as an OEM, you want to declare yourself the OEM of the product you are selling. You are not required to have a trademark, but you are required to go through the VA process. But if you want to say that X is my brand, I own the X brand, then you have to produce the trademark certificate of that X brand.
Okay, he has a follow-up question. He says that we are exclusive partner of a foreign manufacturer for India. Can we claim to be OEM or will we reseller? If reseller, how will the OEM foreign partner can authorize us on GEM? Will our partnership agreement suffice this requirement?
Yes, actually, if you are the exclusive partner of that OEM, you can claim your status as deemed OEM. We have given one functionality besides OEM and reseller. There is a provision for becoming a deemed OEM. So you can apply for becoming deemed OEM of that particular, and for that you will have to produce the documentary evidence of having that exclusive agreement, and your OEM will also have to sign an undertaking as per GEM format.
Okay, thank you. Now, Mr. Dushyant Kumar writes, dear sir, we have built material to Nagarpalika map. Now he says over 1 year, but still not getting payment after complaint, GEM and Samadhan. So I'm not too sure whether he's registered in the GEM or not.
No, maybe he is registered in GEM. I think there are certain buying agencies which are basically notorious for not making payments in time. And as a procurement portal, we have certain limitations. We are just a facilitating portal. If it is a central government department, we can always go to the Prime Minister and complain about the buyer and get the payment release. But when it comes to autonomous bodies such as municipalities, they are basically beyond the controls of central government and even the state government. So it is very difficult to rein in them. But we are trying to do that also in the sense that soon we are going to make GPA facility mandatory for all such buyers. In fact, our target is to get it done as early as possible. Once GPA facility becomes mandatory for all, then there will be no possibility of a buyer not making payment after having accepted the material and generated the CRSE. So all these problems will vanish in some time.
Okay, good, good. That's very nice. So Sumit Ranjan writes, we need the authorized certifying agency on UV disinfection devices. Who will be the right agency for the purpose of certifying the UV disinfection devices? I don't know whether you'll be able to answer this or
No,
not.
that's not for something GEM.
Yeah, that is not something related to GEM.
Right.
That's right. Mr. Rahul Kumar writes, is it mandatory to have the vendor assessment? If we are not exempted under, we don't fall under any of the exemption category. Will our vendor assessment pass without trademark?
Yes, that I have already replied.
Yeah, that you have already replied. Okay. Now, Mr. Sivasanam writes, thanks for the clarification on this. Now, yeah. So Vikas Kumar writes, my question is that our company make machine wire and cable making machine. Can I register on GEM?
Yes, certainly. There are many categories related to wires and cables on GEM.
Okay.
So you can register on GEM.
Okay. So, yeah, we have one more question. Has GEM and BIS system aligned to have latest BIS license details for ISI mark products like bags? So here Surinder Kumar writes.
Yeah, we do have a integration with BIS, but the problem with BIS site is that they are not having a data structure as strong, and they don't have a proper updation mechanism in place. So what happens is they are updating their BIS database on a regular basis at a certain intervals. So we are getting data from that in batches, like in a week or 15 days or 10 days. They are pushing the data in batches. There is no real-time integration. They are having some problem with real-time integration. So there is always a time lag. If there is a expiry of BIS license happening or a renewal is happening during those 10 days or time gap, then there is a possibility that some sellers BIS might be shown on GEM as not valid as on date, but it might have been renewed by BIS. It will get updated when the next cycle of updation takes place.
Okay. So Trushant Javeri writes, my company drone service provider where we provide surveys and inspections. This service is not available on GEM.
See, creation of new product categories or creation of new service categories on GEM is a continuous process. We are creating new categories every day, but we should understand that because the portal is meant for buying by the government department, so we are more keen to create categories which are requested by the buyers. So when we are receiving requests from the buyers, we are immediately creating the categories. Sellers, if they feel that they have got a category which is normally procured by large number of buyers, they can also send in their request through crowdsourcing of categories. We have a feature on GEM portal by the name crowdsourcing of categories, through which anybody, buyer, seller, can send a request for creating new categories.
Okay. So we wish to, Shammi Kumar writes that we wish to get new product registered whose category already defined, contact surface cleaner. Is it research product useful against COVID also? We were told by the helpline that the buyer has to put the requisition for the same, which is not feasible for us as we do not know any buyer. Please let us know how can we get registered in the GEM portal.
Yeah, as I told you, if the buyer is not there to request for the category, seller can also send in a request through this crowdsourcing mechanism. So once you submit a request, it will be taken up as per priority, because we have a long list of pending categories to be created. But if you think it is something which is very important and required for say COVID related something, maybe you can also send a mail to our help desk besides sending it in the crowdsourcing request. So we may think of prioritizing it.
So, Mr. Jan, there's a very interesting question. Mr. Amit Kumar, he writes, dear sir, we would like to bring this issue to your notice that on 28th May 2020, we had applied to be listed in OEM category on GEM portal, but it has been rejected by your team for the following reason. The reason is trademark status is not in the registered, mismatch in organization name on TMC. When I called the help desk, customer care executive informed me we will approve only registered trademark and your brand is showing as objected on IP websites. We are unable to approve your category as a OEM category. So clarification on rejection points, trademark status is not registered. So this is what is his
See,
question.
as I told you, if you just want to become an OEM, you can become an OEM with your complete company name. Say you are XYZ Private Limited. You can say I am XYZ Private Limited, and you can claim yourself as an OEM. But if you want to say that I am the brand owner of brand X, then you must have a trademark for brand X. So there are two different things. If the seller has applied for trademark or brand ownership and OEM dashboard also, then he has to prove his credential of being the owner of the trademark. If he just want to become an OEM, he can just apply for OEM and then his own name, company name will be treated as his brand. What has happened in this case, I understand, is that he has applied for a trademark in the trademark registry, but his application has been objected upon by somebody. So once an objection has been raised by somebody, the status has changed to objected. That means the ownership of the brand has not yet been confirmed. So we cannot treat them as the owner of that brand on GEM also.
Okay. So Shantanu Bhattacharya ji writes, how many days for approval for new products, which may not be already in existing category? So what will be the process for enlistment of such new product category? Did you hear the question?
I think there is some kind of connectivity issue on Rajesh sir's end. Dipesh
So-
sir, are you there?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, please, if you can answer this question. How many days of for approval of new product, which may not already be in the existing category? And what is the process for enlistment of such new product category?
See, as I told you, for applying for a new category, you have to go through the crowdsourcing mechanism. If you submit your request to crowdsourcing, there is a list of prioritized items. So it will depend on where the request ultimately gets prioritized. Because if it is something related to big ticket buying by some large buyers, we will try to create those categories fast. But if it is something which is not that important, maybe it will take some more time.
Okay. So there is no specific timeline for
For
this.
creation of new categories, there is no specific timelines. It may happen in 3 days also. It may happen. It may take up to 1 to 2 months also.
Okay. So here somebody has written for opportunities. We are manufacturer of gear, shaft, means automotive semi-finished components. What will be our opportunities to sell on GEM? Utkav Kumar Singh, he writes.
Selling on GEM is not something which is more important. Actually, if you have a buyer base which is predominantly government, then GEM is useful for you because the buyer base here is limited to government buyers. So if you are already selling something to the government buyers, or if you think the product that you are manufacturing is being procured by some government agencies somewhere, then you have some potential on GEM.
So in fact, the similar question comes from Amit Kumar. He writes, we are into battery services. So are not able to list this service in GEM.
Battery services, I could not understand the meaning of that, but batteries as a product are available for sale and are being procured by large number of buyers on GEM. But what is meant by services is not fully understood by me.
Okay. So Amit Sehgal, he writes, as we are the OEM of printer consumables on GEM, and with the current mandatory discount of 25% on MRP, through the demand, though the demand is there, we are not able to offer the consumables as our MRPs are well justified and declared to the authorities while importing it. So
See, this 25% and all this is basically decided in the consultative committee meetings. It must have been decided after due consultation with the OEMs or suppliers of these product categories, because normally for these printer cartridges and all that, the discounts are ranging in 25 to 50% range. That is why the minimum has been pegged at 25%. So I think if you are actually flowing against the what industry norms are there, maybe because of that you are finding it difficult. Otherwise, there are large number of sellers on GEM who are offering discounts even in excess of 40% or so in these particular categories.
okay. So Amit Kumar, about the battery, he has clarified that he writes that it's old lead acid battery revival. That is the service they give.
I'm not sure. We have never received any request from the buyer for such a service.
Okay.
Because normally buyers prefer to buy a new battery in replacement of an old battery.
Yes.
So we have categories for buy of new batteries and buyback of the old batteries. So that categories we do have, but servicing as such has not been asked for by any buyer.
Okay, okay. So I think with this, we don't have any more questions until and unless Mr. Rajesh Jain, you would like to make any point. Otherwise, you please let me know.
No, I think I don't have any other point. In fact, I would have liked to finish it off because I have another meeting at 4:30.
Okay.
So
thank you
that's
so much on behalf of PhD Chamber of Commerce and Industry. In fact, we would like to propose a very hearty vote of thanks to you, Mr. Rajesh Jain, to Mr. Taleen Kumar, and also to Mr. Ketan Gaikwad, Managing Director, CEO, RXIL, and also Mr. Suraj Sharma, and then we have Mr. Deepesh Gehlot and all the team, whole team of GEM out here. And we would like to also thank our Senior Vice President, Mr. Sanjay Agrawal, and Co-Chairman, Mr. DP Goyal, and Mithilesh Kumar, Joint Secretary, PhD Chamber of Commerce and Industry, to all the distinguished participants who have joined today this GEM meeting, which is very interesting, and it is a great portal for the promotion of product and services in the country. Thank you very much, Mr. Jain and Mr. Gehlot, for your valuable time, and Mr. Manoj Jain from NSIC. Also, we would like to place our hearty thanks to him also. Thank you very much.
Thank you all.
Thank you.